So, the WBO mandates Terence Crawford to fight Shawn Porter, who's number 2 in the WBO. The question is, are we really going to see that fight? We're going to talk about that right after this. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trilly Trills, and welcome to A-Side Boxing Talk. So before we start today, man, I'm gonna tell y'all, man, like, comment, and subscribe, and share it with a friend, man. If you like the content, once again, it's A-Side Boxing Talk. Like I said, man, we're bringing the truth over the narrative. We ain't pro this or anti that. All we is pro-truth and pro-truth over the narrative. So we jumping into the subject, man. As you can see by the title, Terence Crawford was ordered by the WBO to defend his WBO title against Shawn Porter. The most interesting thing about this, man, is the timing, man. So Shawn Porter obviously has been connected, or has been connecting himself to a clash at 147 with Crawford. We know we've been seeing the talks about this for so long, and Shawn Porter, people were telling him to activate the mandatory. Then he came out and said, we don't even know if mandatories are a real thing. Bud's camp, his team, Bernie the Boxer even said, hey, Terence Crawford stopped Shawn Porter, right? So there's been a little bit of talk back and forth. Shawn Porter was supposed to make a call to Bud Crawford, which we believe that he never gave a call or never made the call. But it's a couple little things in this that I want to kind of talk about and break down. So, if you go to the Porterweight podcast, and I think it was about 2 months ago, episode 33 to be specific, where Terence Crawford, where Shawn Porter talked about how he has a boss that he has to answer to, and it sounds really cool to say activate your mandatory. We don't even know if that's a real thing in boxing, which people have contacted the WBO, and activating your mandatory is a real thing. So that debunks that myth or that energy that you put out there into the world to make people possibly, because one thing about the masses is most won't do their research. So when you insinuate, hey, is activating the mandatory a real thing, and then you got a bunch of fans that know and love you, they'll say, well, my favorite fighter said activating a mandatory is not even a real thing. Yes, it is. So, but at the end of the day, right? So here we are. We fast forward. We back on episode 33 with the Porterweight podcast, and he talks about how he has a boss and how he may not have did things right with Terence Crawford, and he has people that we have to answer to, and they'll give you what they want and do this and do that and do all of this sweet talk. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think Shawn Porter wants that fight. I think that, no, you know what? Let me correct myself. I think Shawn Porter does want that fight, but I think the powers to be did not want Shawn Porter to have that fight at that time. Now, you look at the timing of all of this stuff, man. You got Bud, whose contract is supposed to be up in October with Top Rank, and then you get Virgil Ortiz, who was the number 1. Now, just because a fighter is number 1, that doesn't make him the mandatory, right? But you got Virgil Ortiz already signed and sealed for August 14th to fight Mean Machine in Frisco, Texas. So number 2, you got Shawn Porter. So WBO mandates that, and most of the time too, if I'm not mistaken, most of the time when they mandate these fights, the purse split is usually a 70-30 purse split. However, just kind of a little interesting that this purse split is a 60-40 purse split. But that's another thing to keep our eyes on as well. But like I said, it's just very interesting about the time frame that this is coming up on. So essentially, you will have Shawn Porter fighting an fighting a fighter that Earl Spence has fought. You got Earl getting ready to fight here in August, getting ready to defend against Manny Pacquiao. 9 times out of 10, I think Earl Spence is going to walk away with the stoppage victory from that fight. So then you got Bud walking away from Top Rank. And this just smelled like a PBC party, man. This smelled like a PBC party to me, because at the end of the day, you either talking about first quarter of 2022, maybe a Crawford and Ugas unification, 2 belts over there. Spence got 2 belts, and then we meet for a springtime undefeated match at 147. But I don't know, man. This ruling, this mandate by the WBO, man, it got my head all over the place, man. But one thing I will say is that I believe that I don't believe we'll get the fight. I hope we do. I've been praying I hope we get this fight, man. I really do believe that if we get this fight for Terence Crawford will be his career-defining fight, man. If Terence Crawford doesn't look as advertised, right? He's been on the pound-for-pound list forever. But if Terence Crawford doesn't look as advertised, or if he loses, man, that means we probably gonna have to, question his resume, man. It's really gonna make us as fans and as people who follow the sport of boxing, man, we're really gonna have to go back and really look into Terence Crawford's resume and say, hey, man, what's really going on here, man? But like I said, man, if the fight does happen, I got Bud by stoppage, man. I don't think that Shawn Porter can go 12 with Bud Crawford, man. He went 12 with Errol Spence, but just as Errol Spence said, post his car crash, he didn't even start training for that fight until it was the 8-week training camp. And granted, that was probably the toughest fight of Errol Spence's career. He did drop Shawn Porter in the 11th, but believe in Errol Spence. If you believe Errol Spence that he didn't go into that Porter fight, or he didn't start training and he didn't really do any strength and conditioning unless the cameras was on and all of that, if you believe that from Errol Spence, then I have to believe had Errol Spence went into that fight 100% dedicated, 100% motivated, strength and conditioning, training how he's supposed to, I believe Errol Spence stopped Shawn Porter too. Straight up. I believe he stopped Shawn Porter too. So we're going to see, man. We definitely going to see. When you talk about boxing and breaking that fight down, I just think, Shawn Porter is he got 2 things. He either want to try to be light on his feet and box, which I don't think he's going to play with Terence Crawford and try to do this boxing match with Terence Crawford, or he got to get down and dirty and come at Terence Crawford. But the fact of the matter is, it's too many different looks, man. He's full Errol Spence, but Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, 1A and 1B guys at 147, but 2 completely different matchups stylistically, completely different, man. So, man, I'm interested. I'm happy. I'm sad. I don't know. I want it to happen. I don't want to get my hopes up that it will happen. So we'll see, man. We'll definitely see, man. But and that's the question, man. Will Terence Crawford actually defend against Shawn Porter, man? Either way, starting today, we got about 29 more days, and we'll see. If they can't make a deal within the 29 days, it'll go to purse bid. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the fight, after a purse bid, the fight has to happen within 90 days. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that is, man. But hey, man, once again, it's your boy, Trilly Trills. Welcome to A-Side Boxing Talk. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do all of that good stuff, man. And tell a friend to tell a friend, man. Truth over narrative. That's all we spitting out over here, man. I'm not pro this. I'm not pro that. We work, man. Truth over narrative. I'm out.